could just talk with your name and title and.
Okay, my name is John Beyrle, former ambassador to Russia between 2008 and 2012. And this is about the level that I'll be talking at, I think. I don't think I'll shout, unless you make me shout.
And I was going to say, we'll promise not to do anything to make you shout.
Okay, I think we were
Or
good.
sing. Okay, everything okay?
Well, I was hoping you'd play us a number on the piano, even if it's even just Heart and Soul. I'd be fine with.
Yeah, in my dreams maybe.
Okay, I think we're good.
All right. Well, why don't we just go through these, and
Okay.
if you want to do it over again,
Yeah.
we have plenty of time. So,
Okay.
why don't you tell us how you first met Susan and what your first impressions were?
Well, my first impressions of Susan were actually formed probably about a year before I actually met her. I had seen somewhere in a magazine photos of the Washington Opera Ball, in which the Russian embassy had been sort of transformed into this magical winter fantasy land. And a few weeks later, I ran into Ambassador Kislyak and I said, Sergei, I saw the pictures of the opera ball in your embassy. How did you pull that off? And he said, do you know Susan Lerman? I said, no. He said, well, I want you to meet her and then you'll understand everything. And he was right.
Good, and I'm glad you said that because we have a lot of footage of that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
something people still talk about.
Oh, yeah, and will for decades.
Right. Well, just seeing the footage, I can tell. So, what is it about her personality and how she interacts with people that has helped make her into a bridge builder between Russia and the United States?
Well, I think the thing that's really remarkable about Susan, unlike a lot of people in this town, is that it's not all about Susan. It's about her ideas, and it's a kind of single-minded focus in doing what she wants to do, in getting her ideas and her goals across, but in most cases by actually putting the ideas and the goals or other people front and center, not Susan. Susan is a force of nature, but she's probably the most self-effacing force of nature I think I've ever met.
Good. So, give us some examples of some of the events she's organized that you've witnessed firsthand, and what some of the common threads are among them that have made them so successful.
Well, look, this is a town that specializes in events, galas, and frankly, a lot of people get tired of going to galas. I think to me what makes the events and things that Susan sponsors special is that they're populated in large part by students who are doing this not because it's part of the syllabus, not because they want to get a good grade, but because they're actually captured by the idea of what Susan American University is trying to do. And that gives everything that I've been to that Susan has organized through the initiative and now the Institute for Russian Culture and History a kind of special, fun feel. But it also really underscores that the kids, the students, are getting something out of this. They're coming away, they're learning something, and it is helping change their minds.
Good. Everything okay?
Yeah, let me just do that real quick. Okay.
You're a former ambassador, so you recognize the importance of the sort of personal connections between people in different countries and how that can sort of pave the way for a greater understanding. So, how do you think the programs Susan has established have helped make that possible between the United States and Russia?
Well, when the relationship between the Russian and American governments is kind of running at a high level of tension, which unfortunately has kind of been the case for the last several years, it's really crucially important to focus on the cultural, educational, scientific exchanges and contacts between the societies, because that sends a signal that says these kinds of contacts are all right. They're perfectly normal. They're very healthy, and they're actually very necessary. And I think the reason that Susan's successes have been so noteworthy is because this kind of idea imbues what she does, and it's a very positive message, and it's reassuring to people. And essentially, it says we need to keep doing this no matter what direction the political winds are blowing from.
Good. If we could just hit in and of itself what you had touched on at the beginning of your response. Why do you think what she does is especially important at this time when there are challenges in the relationship between the two countries?
Because in a lot of ways, she's doing things, American University is doing things, the Institute is doing things that governments can't do. When the relationship between the governments suffers, there's not the kind of investment in relationship building between the societies that needs to be done. So Susan, in a very important way, is stepping in at a crucial moment and filling a gap that will pay us back with interest, I think, in years to come.
It also seems as though she's focused in on what you could say are two safe zones, and one is the cultural aspect, and the other is with students. It seems like that combination is unique in helping to diffuse some of these things and maybe pave a way for a different path in the future.
Well, I got started in all of this in my career back in the mid-1970s, really the heart of the Cold War, when I was the beneficiary of a student exchange and studied in Leningrad. And so I know the value and the power of these kind of hands-on experiences in really helping you question what you think you believe, pushing back against some of the stereotypes and some of the entrenched mindsets that haven't always been very helpful in U.S.-Russia and U.S.-Soviet relations. And even though we've seen tremendous changes over the last couple of decades, it's clear that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in building better understanding between these two societies. And the work that Susan has done and will do, I think, is absolutely essential in continuing to build on this in a very positive way.
Good. And then obviously one of her signature achievements was establishing the Carmel Institute at American University. And what are some of the unique features of the center and its programs that have made it so successful and perhaps made it possible for students to have lasting impact based on what they pick up from it?
Well, I think one of the things that is unique about first the Initiative for Russian Culture and History and now the Institute is that it's not just about American University. It's a consortium of universities in the Washington, D.C. area. And obviously Washington, D.C. as the capital of the country is also the home of a lot of think tanks, a lot of public policy individuals, a lot of diplomats, and you can really enrich the substance of what you're trying to do by involving people like that who've actually had the experience of trying to build the relationship in one or another direction and maybe haven't been so successful at it sometimes in the past. The lessons of that for the students who take part in this, I think, is absolutely invaluable.
Good. So we have two kind of wrap-up questions that you've already seen, but before we get to them, is there anything you feel like you want to touch on that we haven't covered?
No, I think probably.
Okay, good. So if you were to describe Susan Lehrman in one sentence, what would it be? And if possible, try to weave her name into your response.
Susan Lehrman succeeds in ways that mere diplomats sometimes can only envy.
Good. We like
You like
concise.
soundbites.
Absolutely.
You got one.
Absolutely. So this last one is the one where you look into the camera. So if Susan were why she deserves this award and why you're honored to be her friend and colleague.
Susan, this award is not just well-deserved recognition for everything that you have done, for all your successes in building understanding between these two countries. It's also a pretty important vote of confidence in you and everything that you will do in the future. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that with you.